What's up, AfterBuzzers, and welcome to this special edition of Spotlight On. I have a guest in studio who does fun voices and on-camera presence. Her name is Marieve Herington. You'll know her soon as a voice on Fooly Cooley and as Tilly Green on Big City Greens. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
I was like, wait for it. And yes, there we go. Because we're starting the party off right.
Set the tone.
Exactly.
The tone is very old.
Welcome to Spotlight On. My guest in studio today is Marieve Herington. Welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Carrie.
Real quick at the top, why don't you let people know where they can find you online?
Yeah, come say hi at Red Herington, whether that's on Twitter or on Instagram.
Now, did you pick red because your hair?
What? No, no. And also, I should also say it's Red Herington, H-E-1-R, not like a red herring. No, it was a friend of mine who pointed it out, like in the early days of Twitter, and said, this is what you have to have your handle as. And because I'm the last of the party on all things technology, I was like, I mean, I don't know, sure, fine, because it's not like this Twitter thing's going to be anything.
Oh, yeah,
I was also the last to join Facebook, like, it's...
So right, you're a rebel.
Sure. Or I'm 85 years old.
No.
Is the truth.
You've aged amazingly for 85.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, maybe it's because you're from Canada.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They grow them different up there, right?
We just, well, either that or we just don't get a whole lot of sun to age us.
There you go.
Sure.
Yes. So Oakville, Canada. What is that like in comparison to Los Angeles? Because you live here in Los Angeles now.
Oh, yes. Oakville is a beautiful, beautiful place. It's funny. Recently, they came out with some study voting something or other voted Oakville like the best place to live in Canada. And I think that Canada has won like best place to live like in the world for like a few years. So I was like, man, gosh, I was so lucky and I didn't even realize it at the time. No, it's a beautiful, quiet place outside of the city of Toronto.
Oh, cool.
So much busier here.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit more traffic.
Did you do much going into Toronto growing up as like in your career in the arts?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's where, we would drive in for my auditions from the time that I was 8, 9. I joined the union when I was 9. Yeah.
Well, because 9, we have Pippi Longstocking theme song.
Which was just the anniversary. The 20-year anniversary.
Ooh.
And it was somebody on Twitter who pointed it out. There was like, happy 20th anniversary to Pippi Longstocking and the DVD coming out. And I thought, oh, wow, yeah.
Did you watch the live there's a live action movie. Did you ever watch the live action or just, did you watch the cartoon even though you did the
I mean, because it was like the movie.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
Not the series.
Gotcha. Okay,
This is going back quite a while.
I'm
like, where? Yeah. What did we do?
Because I was like, when I was looking that up, I was like, I remember Pippi Longstocking, the movie and the cartoon movie as well, live action and that.
Yeah, no, it was a big deal back in the day, and it was like my first time. I was so little, and just like going into the studio wearing headphones just like these. I still have the picture, of me the first time, so scared in front of a mic. So
I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot. Do you remember the song at all?
Sure, yeah. What shall I do today? What shall I do today? What shall I do today? What shall I do? Da 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 da. Oh yeah, that stuff sticks like from when you're little, right? Don't you have things that you remember from your childhood?
Yes. Oh, theme songs. I can definitely sing those.
Oh,
yes. Off. Yes. But that's cool, and that would have been that's a fun start to get going.
Yeah.
Is that when you started getting the bug, or was there something else that was like, I want to be in the spotlight?
Well, the thing was on the spotlight.
Yes, on the spotlight.
Perfect timing.
Yes.
No, it's funny. It was like we did music in my household growing up. I started piano when I was 4. Mandatory. I was not super into it, but it was what we did. My father played a lot of music, but it wasn't until I did a school play when I was in 3rd grade where I was the lead role, and there was acting and singing involved, and that was the moment that I said, this is what I have to do with my life. So my father, ever the capitalist, was, instead of putting me in a acting camp or something, was like, we're going to get her an agent right away. And go figure, she's still my agent. All these years later in Toronto. We had 30 people at our wedding. She was there because she's family.
Yeah,
she's seen
known
me
your
grown
whole
up,
life.
my whole
That is amazing.
life. Yeah, so that's what got that started. And then Pippi was one of the first jobs that I booked with her, and I think was, now that I think about it, one of the ways that I ended up going into voiceover, because I never intended for that to happen. It's just that the industry in Toronto and in LA is very different. In Toronto, you have one agent that takes care of everything, whether that's commercials, TV shows, movies, voiceover, hosting, everything. It's one thing. Versus in LA, they're all separate agents. So she started sending me out for voiceover stuff like Pippi, and I started booking those and discovering, oh, I love this too. So, yeah.
How early on did you notice the difference between being on camera and then using your voice in voice acting, and which one stood out to you first?
I mean, honestly, both of them are acting. I honestly think that people think there is of course there's a difference between on camera and voiceover, but acting's acting.
True.
You know, if anything, excuse me, I feel like sometimes you can push characters wilder in voiceover. Although, you know, you can be on camera doing something that's very sketch-like and you can go really big on it. If anything, I feel like your opinions and your specificity of thought, like moment to moment, and your characters has to just be that sharper in voiceover, because you only have one channel through which to communicate. You can't be like, say, sure, Carrie, let's totally go out for coffee later. I really want to. And like the I really don't want to subtext come out in the eye roll. It really has to be in what you're saying. You know, it's like it's got to translate into that one channel. So that would, I feel like, is the big difference. But no, I feel like in my heart, it's all the same. It's all acting. It's all playing different characters.
Do you feel the different mediums have helped you build you up in different ways? Because, like, you know, one is one skill and the other is another, and then flexing both those muscles?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like sometimes it feels like it's safer to take really big swings and huge risks in voiceover, because you're like, well, I can hide behind a microphone and then I'm more game to try those characters on camera or on stage. You know, I feel like there's a lot of similarity actually between how big you can go with characters in voiceover and also like in improv and in sketch, you know, because in improv, I don't have to be 5'1.5", I'm claiming my half-inch, redhead. You know, you can be an old lady, which happens to be one of my favorite things to play these days.
What's been your favorite old lady role?
Well, I have a couple on Big City Greens that are coming out at the moment, but my first old lady that came out was on Bunsen is a Beast on Nickelodeon earlier this year. But they're all a sort of a tribute to my 97-year-old great aunt.
Can we get a sample of that?
Oh, yes, you know, she'd be very excited to be on television right now. She's very excitable.
She's quite the character.
Yes, I can tell that.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, so she's kind of been my creative muse for the last 2 years.
How do you, speaking of like doing an old age, how do you channel that, or how do you figure to use your voice that way? In terms of like, you know, when people think like a little old lady voice, they might be more of a character, and that sounds like a person. Is it in mimicking someone you know, or being influenced by someone you know helpful, or what is that process?
I feel like all of the above.
Okay.
You're so right. I feel like you can get inspiration from wherever you're at. I mean, one of my favorite just really terrible Valley Girl characters, the inspiration for that character was nowhere near as obnoxious as that was a real person as well. Was nowhere near as obnoxious as the final product, but I just thought that what she had said one night over dinner was just so obscene that then I just kind of like leaned into that.
Which was?
Oh,
I was like, come on, yeah.
promoting a movie, and she's like, you have to come. She said you have to come and like see this movie so that we can make a sequel. But then I took it like way too far and like made it really, really annoying. And like, go figure, I ended up doing a commercial. Like, it was obviously a very charactery commercial, like more of an like animated-ish kind of radio commercial. Not like you're straight up like, hey, buy potting soil from
Sure.
this company, whatever. So yeah, you get your inspiration from really everywhere. I just think that real people are so interesting.
Well, because it's a real person. There's substance there.
Yeah, and this is something that, you know, several of my teachers have said in voiceover. It's like every voice, every character is a voice, but not every voice has character or is a character. Because you can do a really cutesy little voice, but there's like nothing behind it. And I think you can tell. You know, you can hear it, you can feel it, versus I feel like, you know, my great aunt Isabel character, the reason why like that's been kind of, you know, I've been busy with that voice a little bit lately, is because she's so specific. You know, she's got she's ballsy, she's not just an old lady, she's got a lot of stuff going on, and she has strong feelings about the world.
So you're playing the gamut of young person to old person. Do you ever play much your own age?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it just feels like, I've done that. I am
you are your age, yeah.
Right. So, and it's like, that's where I feel like on camera and voiceover is a balanced diet.
Ah,
right?
There you go.
Because you've got you can play your young kids, you can play your old ladies in voiceover, and then you get to play yourself, or kind of closer to yourself, you know, even though I'm not a mom, I get to play a mom. On camera, I'm not a teacher, I get to play a teacher.
Yeah.
You know, all that stuff.
On a couple of your clips, one of the ones, and we were talking about this a little bit before, How I Met Your Mother, there's this scene where it's the architecture class, and that's like youthful college student, pretty much, I guess. How is it, that kind of energy to play that kind of scene? It's very enthusiastic. You seem like an enthusiastic person as well. Is there much acting there, or is that a person? Did that come to mind as somebody else you knew, or
that was just sort of me. I really brought sort of myself to. That was, I feel like, my first significant role when I got to LA. So I just used myself a lot for that, and the sides to me seemed that she was very sort of chipper and excited to be in class, and an eager learner, which I am all of those things. I loved school, so I just got to use that. And plus, it's hard to not be just enthusiastic and having a wonderful time on those sets, because How I Met Your Mother was a multi-camera sitcom. So although it was a hybrid, because we didn't have an audience, because most multi-camera shows you will have an audience for, right? So it's a little different in that you don't have their energy, but there's still like a zillion people on set and these wonderful big bright sets. So yeah, it's hard for that to not just sort of seep into you.
Were there any moments where someone couldn't control their laughter on set that stood out to you, like any kind of memory? Because it is interesting on those sets of, you know, if an actor does something really funny and all the crew have to be like, hold it in.
Right. I feel like the moments where the uncontrollable laughter happened was when there was a moment of improv, or there was like an X factor. So for instance, there was a scene, I think it was on the second episode I shot, the one where I'm like doing the shooters and going like that one, where Jason Segel was shooting all these like skee balls up into, and kept cursing when they wouldn't go in. And so because there were so many unknowns, because by the time you're taping, the crew has seen all these rehearsals like a million times and is a little desensitized to it, right? But yeah, because that was all very spur of the moment, there were a lot of chuckles. I do remember that.
And then something interesting too about that show, we were talking about, like some of these television shows are getting a second life via streaming services. What has been the most obscure role you've done that someone's come out to you now and like, hey, oh my gosh, you were on this thing?
Obscure?
Or most common?
I mean, I guess right now it's How I Met Your Mother. Sure. Because it was when that first came out, you know, it was a big hit show. People would be like, oh, I saw you on this. And now I'm getting from friends saying like, oh yeah, I had it on in the background and then I heard that voice and I was like, oh yeah, there she is. You know, so that one, it was funny though, I will say, about that specific show and that recognition. So I took my girlfriend for her birthday to get a massage. She had just had a baby, didn't have like a lot of time on her hands. So I was like, let's just have a little me time. Let's go get massages. And I was feeling very bold in going into the woman's like jacuzzi or whatever. And I was like, I'm gonna go European style and, you know, be bold, Marieve, be bold. So I did, like for 2 seconds. And then when we were leaving the spa, the woman who checked us in was like, I know where I know you from now. It was How I Met Your Mother. I was like, of course. The one time I would take my top off and like enjoy just a moment of feeling wild, which is not even that wild, in like an all-women spa. Anyway.
You go to some K-spas here in LA.
I know. People are just put it all out there.
It's very liberating.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, why do I feel weird? And then you're just like, oh,
then you're like, no, I don't.
Exactly.
I don't at all.
Kind of like the voice acting, being free and doing whatever you want. Yeah.
I know. And you're like, okay, I'm so free. I'm in this jacuzzi, totally naked. Oh, wait, no, get back in your box. It's like, I remember where I saw you from now.
What has been one of the weirdest voices you've done and that surprised you when it came out?
Oh.
Either literally out of your mouth or when it final product.
Well, it's interesting you say that surprised you when it came out because that will happen. And that happened with Tilly with Big City Greens where, because sometimes as an actor, like you're perfecting sort of like that character or, you know, in voiceover, you've got this voice that you're like, you get a bunch of auditions come through and you're like, oh, I'm going to try and sell this voice on this character because I really want to do it. Not the case with Tilly. Had never heard that voice come out of my body before. I was like, where is this coming from? Because she's, you know, I have a high voice that is, I talk pretty fast. And Tilly is now, as the show has gone on and she has sort of taken on a bigger role, she can't be quite as low and slow as she was in the pilot when she would come into a scene, say 2, 3 weird, quirky words and leave. As she became a more major character, that would just slow down the episode way too much. So she's sped up a little bit, but certainly I don't have a Southern accent. I'm Canadian. So to hear this little voice come out, it was totally new. I was like, what? Who's that? It's Tilly Green. That's who it was.
So tell me, what is Big City Greens? It's on Disney Channel, your involvement with it, and how did you come to this project?
Sure. So Big City Greens is on Disney Channel, and we actually, the show premiered in June on Disney Channel. The whole, first half, 2/3 of the first season is going to air also starting on Disney XD in September. So they're going to re-air it all there. I started working on it in spring of 2015 was when I did the pilot. Yeah. The callback was late March 2015.
Was the delay in that just the animation?
A lot of it is. Okay. A lot of it is. They also there had been, from what I understand, a few pilots that were being made at the time, and it just kind of made sense for Big City Greens to come a little later. But we did the pilot in spring of 2015. Then they animated that pilot, showed it to kids. They test these things like crazy. Turns out that my fate, like, lay in the hands of, I think our target demo is like 6 to 11. I think. So anyway, an 8-year-old was deciding my fate, basically. But so they tested it extensively. Then we found out in February of 2016 that we were getting the green light, but we didn't start working on it until October of 2016. And then we've been seriously working on it almost every week since then.
Are many projects that often a delay and those kind of big pauses in between?
It just, it depends. It just depends because, you know, something that was on the complete other end of the spectrum, Fully Cooley, so fast. Like, we just finished recording that. Sometimes we would get the animation from Japan. It wasn't even finished.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was that turnaround time was just a couple of months.
Yeah.
Versus episodes that came out this summer, I did 3 years ago.
So it's kind of like you get this rolling out process of different projects.
That's the thing. I have some friends who are just like, whoa, you're really busy right now. It's like, I mean, yes, but no. It's just like these, you can plant seeds and some will, you know, some plants take longer to grow and other ones, you know, are super quick.
Like weeds.
That's it. And then suddenly you're like, whoa, I got a bunch of plants.
Nice. Back to Big City Greens.
Sorry.
Tilly, do you associate anything with her as a character? I mean, I know you said the voice kind of surprised you, but anything about that character that you're like, yep, I see myself in her, or is that or is it nothing like you?
She's kind of who I wished I could have been as a kid, really, because Tilly is who she is. She is very much like marches to the beat of her own drummer. What's the phrase?
Your own drum.
My own drum, yeah. And she's so secure in that. She doesn't need to be in with all the cool kids or feel like she needs to be anybody but exactly who she is. And she's always happy off playing by herself. And I really admire that about that character. You know, she's so young, and I think she sets a good examples for kids of like, I'm into this and this is who I am. You know, and I think in fact, the first episode we recorded, it was not the first that aired, entitled Tilly's Goat. Cricket, the lead of the show, played by Chris Houghton, says, you know, like, don't you, because Tilly enters a goat into a dog show. Yeah. Because she says that her goat is a dog on the inside. So she wants her goat to feel like she can really be herself. So, yeah.
Sure.
So anyway, Cricket tells Tilly, like, don't you get it? People are laughing at you. And she's like, I know. And he's like, wait, what? You know? And she's like, yeah, but this is what I wanted to do. And I wanted to make the goat feel good. And she's totally fine.
Did the goat feel good?
I think she had a great time.
Okay.
I think Melissa, the goat, had a great time.
Yeah.
It was very cute. It was very cute. A lot of, like, we made a big old mess of the dog show.
Oh, okay.
But it was.
Do you watch
dog
dog shows ever?
Not
total
like,
side tangent.
Not religiously. It's funny. A friend of mine recently showed me. She loves to watch dogs watching themselves on dog shows.
Those
They're
are
like
funny.
those videos. That's very random and also very, very funny.
There's videos of everything.
There are.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, aren't there ever? So yeah, that's really the thing with Tilly, is that the thing I do have in common with her though is she's an old soul, and I feel like I am in some ways. Like, I'm really into old music. Like, you know, I less these days because things have been very busy sort of on the acting side, but I had a 1930s 40s jazz band.
That's pretty
for
cool.
like 15 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I had like my Toronto version of the band, and then
still,
like
yeah, that's very like a commitment to it.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, there's no reason. I don't feel like there's that many people who are my age who know the Great American Songbook inside and out,
Sure.
and old, you know, French jazz the way that I do. So Tilly and I have that kind of vintage thing going a little bit.
So have you been to New Orleans then?
I have.
I would hope so. If you
I
did
have.
Jazz tour.
Yes. I wasn't playing jazz, oddly, when I was there. I was hosting a travel video series. Oh, all the jobs you do as an actor. Right. It's so varied.
True.
So varied.
All the things.
Yeah.
And then another acting live on camera one. So you did writing and acting for Pleasant Events. Tell me about that show. I saw some clips and it's very quirky, funny.
It's a very quirky show. That was, my first foray into writing. So I'm part of a writer's group, and I approached this writer in the group who's also an actor, and I loved her stuff, and I thought her writing was always just a little bit oddball, where you go, nobody else could have written that. And I said to her, do you want to make something? Do you have any interest or time? And she said, I have time and I'm totally interested. And so her name is Beth Curry. She's wonderful. And we started making that web series. Like, we were right out of the gate a month after we sort of initially talked. We were shooting our pilot.
Speedy.
Yeah, we did 9 webisodes. Ended up developing it for TV, like explored a reality TV version of it, and we finally finished our half-hour scripted pilot of it.
Congrats.
So, yeah, and it's a wedding planner show. It's about a quirky wedding planner who was big, had her heyday in the 90s. She disappears off the grid.
That's her outfit.
That's her outfit and the big bangs.
Yes.
So she comes back to the industry after 25 years off the grid, and to find that it has changed. The world has changed. The wedding industry has changed. So yes, it's very much Kimmy Schmidt-esque in the wedding world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you her assistant then?
Yes, her assistant, but also her niece.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so it's like there's the awkward family dynamic that
Who
plays in
seems
there
to
too.
know current stuff, though.
Yes, absolutely. Penny, who I play, so it's Brenda and Penny and our odd couple
Yeah.
that navigating the wacky world of weddings. She's very much the straight man and the up on trends and is like, allow me to save you from yourself type thing. Yeah.
Personal and then side tangent of, did you
Yes.
experience any kind of wedding planner stuff for your own wedding then?
Mine was pretty low key. So
You're like, I don't want to deal with any of that.
it was I didn't have a wedding planner, or like I was the wedding planner. We got married in my mom's backyard, so it was not
Simple.
It was
Good to
not
go,
it was not a thing. But no, this show was very very near and dear to my heart because I've always been obsessed with weddings. Like I've seen basically no movies at all except unless they're made by Nancy Meyers. So Father the Bride, I was like, it has to be something about weddings.
Do you like Say Yes to the Dress?
I watched a lot of Say Yes to the Dress, like, years ago, but
Yeah.
I'm not up on it now. I gotta
Bridezilla?
say. It was a very negative show.
Mm.
I felt, do you know
Sure.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was just a lot of, I wanted to see the beautiful, happy,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't want to see
Exactly.
all just like terrible drama between family
Yeah.
members. I'm like, I got enough stress.
True. That's the point of some reality shows, is they're kind of that way to veg out. You don't
Yeah.
want the drama.
Yes.
Well, you want a certain kind of drama, not stressful drama.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, no thanks. No
Real
thanks.
thanks. So if you've made the 30-minute pilot presentation for that, are you trying to get it to studios now?
Yeah,
or-
well, we
Okay.
just finished. We haven't shot the half-hour pilot. We
Oh,
just
okay.
finished writing
Cool.
the pilot
Okay.
because it's had so many lives in
Right.
in the short in the short version in the digital space, and then we were working with a production company for a time on exploring it in the reality TV space, and now we've reverted back to our original intent, which was for it to be scripted. But the reason that the reality thing came up was because the web series is half scripted. Half of the episodes are controlled in Brenda's office, and those are scripted. And then half of the episodes, we took Brenda and Penny and threw them into the real world.
So is it real people then? Nice. I think I saw a clip of that. So that when you are at a bridal shop, did you tell people after? Be like, by the way,
We did. Well, we were like,
I would hope you
We
did, yeah.
yes, we told people what we were doing, and there was. I think we went to the bridal shop on Halloween. There was nobody in there.
Oh,
so when we
interesting. Yeah.
caused, I mean, people were getting ready, in their
yeah.
costumes late afternoon. So we were able to cause a scene, and we were like, oh, we're just shooting, this little thing, and we're
Yeah.
not putting it. We're not
Yeah,
going to
just
make
online
money
thing.
off of
Yeah,
it, And they were like, yeah, have a great time.
Aw,
Like they weren't
yay.
using like the back
Sure.
change
That's
rooms or
cool.
anything. So,
Was
yeah, it
there
fun.
any challenges developing it from the digital space to a regular 30-minute scripted program?
Absolutely. You have to think in terms of storylines that can sustain, a longer format. It can't just be like, oh, a funny quick gag,
Yeah.
because I think it started with, oh, Brenda's outlandish and stuck in the early 90s. And that's funny for a moment, but that can't be the whole show. She's got to have bigger wants and desires, and so does Penny. And how does, and adding other characters. Because you can't have 30 minutes. You need to have some A, B, and C stories that are going to sustain you over the course of 22 minutes.
Interesting. And then another format you've kind of dabbled in is Instagram filming.
That's new. Totally new.
What is that like?
That is one format where it really is get in, get out, one quick joke.
Yep.
Because you've only got a minute. That's
Are
all
you
can
doing any on this?
Oh, IGTV?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Those are a
We're-
little longer.
They are a little longer. I personally am not watching stuff on IGTV yet.
Not much. Me neither.
Yeah. So maybe it's just personal preference, and maybe everybody will get on IGTV and then we'll say, "Oh, just kidding, just kidding. We're gonna get over there." But for now, we're putting
Well, it's
it.
like advanced Vine. Vine was popular for its hot minute because they were
Yes.
super short.
super
So
short.
the 1 minute is a nice little more developed, let it breathe.
Yeah, you actually, it's surprising that, yes, although I'm saying you only have time for one quick gag, you do want to tell a story.
Yeah.
Still, and you can in a minute. That's what's really interesting. So yeah, what we're working on for Instagram at the moment is my husband and I wrote a pilot that we haven't started pitching yet, a multicam actually called Large and in Charge, because he is 6'8". I am 5'1.5", and very bossy. So it's called Large and in Charge, and we just said, why don't we start putting our stuff out there and not wait for other people, you know, because as we were talking about with Big City Greens, things take a long time to get made in this town. So we're like, we have this desire to tell the story of us and of comedically mismatched couples. So why wouldn't we start doing that right away? So we post photos almost every day, and we put a new video out every week on @ We Are Large and in Charge.
You also had the Instagrammy.
Yes.
Granny.
Instagrammy. No, you were right.
Oh, it was
Instagrammy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's. Oh, there's only so much time in the day, but yes, we were working on that on that too, which that's definitely a little side passion project of mine. With, as I mentioned, loving to play a senior citizen, and so that's me playing myself and my grandmother.
Did you like did you see Bad Grandpa?
I have not seen Bad Grandpa. I did some. This is
Did you do undercover grandma stuff at all?
No, but I did do some trailer voice stuff for Dirty Grandpa.
Oh, okay.
And oddly got nominated for a Golden Trailer Award for that. It was very strange. We were traveling when we found out, and because you don't hear my voice very much in movie trailers.
Okay.
You know, it's mostly men.
True.
You know, or older women with gravitas.
Yeah.
Not my voice. But it was like a very sexy, like almost like a 1-900 like operator voice. And yeah, so I have not seen. What did you say?
It's Bad
Which grandpa? Bad Grandpa.
I think that's the Johnny Knoxville one.
I'm thinking the one with
The one where
De
it's
Niro?
the Jackass guys and like, you know,
now
the one person.
Now all my wires are crossed.
Yeah.
I'm like, too many grandpas.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea.
Oh no, it's all right. Also, Instagram sharing content. We were just saying before, your bangs look lovely.
Oh my God. We were talking a lot about hair earlier, so and just like big changes, and sometimes
as
girls
an actor,
just have to change
that's the
it.
thing. You got to get new headshots and change that up and everything.
I know.
Do you like sharing personal content like that on it? For your Instagram account, it looks like a mix of professional and personal. Do you like having that kind of blend?
I do, and for now, I will say that I'm learning so much.
Sure.
I'm by no means an expert in any of this stuff, but I find that the accounts that I enjoy watching, it's comedians and actresses that I look up to. I want to know what cool work stuff they're doing, but then I also want a little peek behind the curtain and know that their life is not perfect either, and they will look like a train wreck on Monday morning, and I sure do. So like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That to me
sense.
is what feels like the most honest story.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, a big kind of grandiose thing then new to your profile, or you should be adding more to it, is this summer you went to Anime Expo and Comic-Con for the first time.
Well, that was the whole big like social media wake-up call, right? Where I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, this thing, I should probably do that.
Oh, yeah. That.
People are on this? What?
Yeah. People know what they're doing and not just like snapping a beautiful picture of like, I love flowers. So I was like, friends, like, oh my gosh, my friend sent me this flower. I'm going to put that in my Instagram feed. And friends have been like, no. Put that in your story. Don't put that in your feed.
Yes.
Look how much I've learned.
It's the temporary things. It doesn't really, it's one that's cool right now.
Yeah.
But you don't need to keep it forever.
Yes. Oh, see, Carrie, I need a lesson from you.
No, it sounds like you got it.
Well, I'm late to the party.
It's okay. You joined. That's what matters.
I joined the party.
Well, then you've joined the nerd circuit of how overwhelming or how crazy was that to do Anime Expo and Comic-Con for the first time? Because alone, those are big conventions, and quite a few people are overwhelmed by just one at a time. I couldn't imagine what it's like for the first time for both of those. What was that like for you?
It was so exciting. And the thing was, because I was a first timer to both, I had no idea what to expect.
Ah, there you go.
And so I was just along for the ride, and I had friends who were just like, oh, Comic-Con's so annoying, and it's like so many people, and it's just I I got to tell you, I really didn't know what to expect, and so it was just all fun to me.
Good.
And also, we were very well taken care of, you know,
Good.
between the different panel shows, and so the panels were a blast. We got to share the Big City Greens panel with Star versus the Forces of Evil.
Cool.
And because they've done many seasons of their show, now they're like the seasoned pros who are able to kind of guide us new kids and be like, it's okay, you got this, you know? So that was lovely. And then the Fooly Cooly panel was awesome too, just because that show was such a huge hit, 15 years ago or something. And now with the new Fooly Cooly Progressive that just aired this summer, there's just all this renewed buzz, and now everybody's excited for Alternative starting September 8th.
Tell us about your character, Pets.
Yeah, so Pets is, you know, oftentimes, at least in my early days of animation, I was playing like really bold characters who were very comedic, very broad. Pets is not at all. She's very sort of understated and dry, which took a second for me to dial into. But luckily, Stephanie Shea and Michael Sinter-Nicholas, who were our directors on the show, were really great with just being like, the humor of this character lies in less is more. So what's challenging about anime is that you're not given the whole script at once, and you're not able to see kind of where the character's going. Luckily, our directors actually did verbally sort of tell us the broad strokes of where we were going, because normally
That's good.
that's great, and it's much more than, you know, I've gotten on other shows where it's like, okay, here's the original Japanese, okay, listen to it, 3 beeps and go.
That is one of those. And hit the ground running.
Yeah. And so, and the risk with that, of course, is then your characters can be just a vocal copycat of what was done before. You're not putting any of your own spin on it, or having any like layers of stuff beneath it, just because you don't know where your character's going.
Sure.
So yeah, Pets took a second for me to like dial in on that first day, but then I was like, okay. And as they explained more of her character arc, we zeroed in on it. But very understated, dry, and a really layered young girl. Like, she's not all that she seems on the surface. She seems like she's one thing, and she's kind of, this simple, sweet, but there's a lot of stuff happening.
Can we hear a sample of that voice?
It's pretty close to my voice, but like even less. She just says her lines, leaves it alone. Kind of very dry.
So those are the days you don't have your coffee in the morning.
Yeah. Well, there are some really heated scenes towards the end of it. Yeah, there's an extremely emotional scene that was crying like crazy in this particular scene. So that was physically very taxing. Where I was like, I was glad that I had my coffee, because I was like, wow, I did not need to work out, because I was all sweaty by the time I was all done with that.
2-part question. How hard is it, or what do you channel to get into that zone to be crying? And then how difficult or how easy is it to come out of it and wash that off and be able to leave the booth and not take it with you?
That's a great question. I feel like for me, I need to know where I can't just turn it on right now. Okay, emotional line. I need to watch a bit of the scene beforehand so that it tracks, so that it threads emotionally, you know, for the viewer. I need to know like how long she's been a character's been irritated with so and so, or like how, if it was like a boy she was in love with, you know, as an example, how long she's pined after this guy. That all makes a difference. So I need to either watch, and in the case of anime where you have a visual to go off of, or I just need to ask these questions to the director, because it makes a huge difference.
Oh yeah.
You know, snapping out of it's pretty easy and quick.
Well,
but getting into it, you know, I need to know the specifics so that then I can tap into how, like, the reality of that for me, Marieve. Yeah.
Well, that's where we kind of circle back to what we were talking earlier about the acting of it. Is it's not just like a light switch, like you're connecting to something, making it real and grounded.
Yeah, you can tell whether it's on camera or voiceover when somebody's connected and being really honest. And I think that's what hooks us in, right?
True.
We're humans.
Yeah.
We're attracted to other humans, even if it's an animated character, right?
This
if
is
it's,
true.
I don't know, like SpongeBob, a talking sponge, right? But there's a human thing that is what gets us to really care.
Favorite animated character you voiced and one you watched as a child?
Sure. I mean, I'm partial to Tilly Green at the moment.
Sure.
But even though this feels so wrong, it feels like choosing your favorite child.
But you can have different favorites at different points in your life, though, too.
Yes, I mean, we've just started season 2 for Big City Green, so that's on my mind at the moment. And growing up, so I actually wasn't allowed to watch cartoons as a kid.
Oh, this is kind of ironic almost.
I know, right? It's like, look, Mom, you wouldn't let me watch cartoons as a kid.
Now it's my job.
I'm gonna do it now. And when I bring her, and she fully admits, by the way, my mom admits that she doesn't like cartoons. So it's really special when I get to bring her to recording sessions. You know, if she's in town, she lives in Canada. I brought her to the Big City Greens recording session, and she's like, Marieve, it's really good. I really enjoy. So she, by the way, she's a French Canadian accent.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, my mom sounds like Celine Dion. My whole family does. And she was like, it's beautiful. It's very funny. It's very good. So if my mom is like, it's good, it's good. No,
Mom gave the 2 thumbs up.
She gave the 2 thumbs up as like animation hater. But the one that we did watch was something that we watched with my sister, who's 7 years younger than I am. She loved Arthur. Did you guys have Arthur here? Yeah, you did. Okay, because there's certain times I'll like put out references.
There's some cartoons that don't. I was talking to someone there from the Philippines, and like they didn't have Mr. Rogers, but they had some other program that was out at the same time.
Yeah.
But they got that later, and they're like, oh, they were a little older than they would have wanted to have seen it. So yes, we had Arthur.
Right, okay. Because sometimes I'll throw out like very Canadian references, and people are like, "What? That was not."
Well, with Netflix and Amazon now, people might be watching it now.
Yeah, right, exactly. So we loved. Well, my sister loved, and I claimed to not because I was older, of course, and I would never like what my younger sister liked. Right? No. That would be horrific.
That wouldn't be cool.
No, but she loved Arthur, and I loved it, and I just loved DW. And in fact, there was like a whole BuzzFeed thing that came out about like 20 ways that DW was the realest. I don't know if we can swear on this show. Was the realest bee who ever lived. And she's just very snarky.
Yeah. Babar, do you remember that one?
Yes.
Yep, that was a good one too. That was around that same time.
Yeah, I think that was made in Canada too.
Oh, well then we got that one here.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because that was made by the same people, Nelvana, the people who made Franklin the Turtle.
I don't think we know that.
Okay. All right.
No.
All right. That was a series of like Canadian like kids books that they turned into a super popular TV show.
Now you've done front of the camera, behind the camera. What's something you have coming up next you can tell us about? I mean, we got Fooly Cooly coming out September 8th. Kind of mentioned what are some other projects coming out, and what is something you would like to do that's maybe not on the docket just yet?
Oh my goodness gracious. The problem is that I'm so interested in too many different things, so I have to like really narrow my focus sometimes. But at the moment, what's coming out right now is we're really working hard on this. We Are Large and in Charge, Instagram and that show, and getting that out, as well as Pleasant Events. And what's something that I would like to do? I mean, I'd love to have a long run on a really crazy, quirky multicam, something kind of Big Bang Theory-esque, you know, not just your run-of-the-mill thing, but kind of niche, nerdy thing. Yeah.
You consider yourself a nerd then?
Yes, but not in the typical, like, I'm into, like, though I feel people think nerd, they think Dungeons and Dragons or whatever, and that's
a very
not
broad term now.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good, because I'm just, like, I'm very nerdy into the specific things that I'm into.
Sure. You're just a super fan of whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
And then I guess nerd is just, there you go. Nerd is anybody who's a super fan of whatever that thing is.
Right. Perfect.
Yes.
Then yes, 100% nerdy.
It's just definitely more broad now because it's the cool thing. It's the in thing.
Well, that's the crazy thing about all these conventions, right? Is that it used to be one particular kind of, you know, product or culture, and now it's
everything.
It's everything. I was shocked.
Have you been recognized? I know the camera, but have you been recognized yet for your voice? Like, have you been anywhere and someone heard your voice and, hey, I know you?
I don't think so.
Not
I think
yet.
it's been more just sort of friends or people, like acquaintances who've said, like, I was doing something in my house, or like I had the TV on with my kids, and then I suddenly turned around because I was like, wait, she's in my living room, so it's been more, less, and plus a lot of these character voices aren't necessarily my natural voice, so I don't go around talking like Tilly Green all the time, though maybe I should.
Do you think having the different accents and growing up helped curate how you can change your voice?
Possibly. I just think I'm a sponge. I just think people and voices and faces are really interesting. I mean, I would totally be that person who would go to London for 5 minutes and come back with like a Madonna-esque accent and be like, I'm British now, because I think I take on like a chameleon,
you have a good ear.
Whatever's around me.
So it adds to your skill set.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's funny though, I can't book anything with a Canadian accent anymore. It's now gone, and I'm like basically only booking sort of like accent-wise, Brits, and not really even French stuff, which is, my first language. No. Like British, Southern.
Go figure.
I have no idea. Sometimes though, it's what the American version thinks.
Yes.
Is like, because like Pepe Le Pew isn't really a French accent. No. But it's sort of what people think is one, so that it's like, don't be accurate with that accent. Nobody's interested in your accuracy.
Like, no, that's not what it is.
No.
Quick random question for you then too. You said French was your first language. What language do you think in?
Now English. Yeah. If I'm home, like with the family at Christmas after a few days, like I'll start to dream in French too. If it's just a matter of immersion.
Sure.
But yes, English is my intellectual language. French is maybe a little bit more of like my emotional language.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I went to school in English, so
very cool.
My French writing's terrible. It's really sad.
Well, luckily you don't have to be writing right now. You're just doing voices and I don't mean it as just.
Yeah.
You're doing voices and acting. Anything else you'd like to add? We are at the end.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks, Carrie.
Well,
that's
thank you.
Like really what I want to add is thank you.
Thank you.
And come by and say hi on @Red Herington for all this like on-camera voiceover news, and then We Are Large and in Charge at We Are Large and in Charge on Instagram, because we post a new video every week.
Nice. Well, congratulations on all of that, and we wish you the best of luck on all these exciting new projects.
Thank you so much.
And I'm glad you were able to get that name for Instagram. Oh my gosh, getting like the right username sometimes. You're like, oh good, it's available.
I know. Yeah. Well, we really wanted like @Large and in Charge, but then it wasn't. Then we're like, Large and in Charge show. No, but then the reality is, my husband and I, we are like, this is, people look at us and they're like, you guys are ridiculous. This is a TV show right here. And we're like, we agree.
Done. Check. Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Marieve, for joining us.
Thank you, Carrie.
Go check out Fooly Cooley, coming out September 8th. And
it's on Adult Swim.
There we go.
Adult Swim,
wherever you get your Adult Swim. Thank you for watching this Spotlight on. My name is Carrie Lane. You can find me online at Carrie D Lane. That's KARIDLANE. Thank you. It's so fun talking with you about voices, and thank you for all the samples of them too.
Oh my gosh. Anytime. Thanks, Carrie.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.